We're doing marginal costing MCQs. Read the question.
A business changed from using absorption costing to marginal costing. This had no effect on profit for the month.
So if you
What had
shift,
happened?
yeah, 1 minute. If you
Hmm.
shift from absorption to marginal, so
Hmm.
your profits will be different or they will not be different.
They will be different.
They will be different. And the difference in profit is only because of one reason. What is the reason?
Because marginal is only variable cost and absorption is total
It is
cost.
only because of closing inventory.
Huh.
So if you're changing your method and still you do not have any difference in profit, that means you had
So,
no closing inventory.
yeah.
That means whatever you produce, the same number of units you sold.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you change from absorption to marginal and it had no effect on profit. So what had happened for the month? Production
Uh,
stopped?
no,
No.
it means that you sold.
Units produced and sold were equal? Yes. Because when
Yeah.
units produced is equal to units sold, it means there
Hmm.
is no closing inventory.
Hmm.
The only reason why there is a difference in profit is because of the
Closing inventory.
closing inventory. Because of the closing inventory, the profit as per absorption will be more
Yeah.
and opening inventory less.
Hmm.
Go to the next one. Read the question.
A company produces less than it sells in a particular period. Which statement is correct? The reported profit is the same whether absorption
So
or
you
marginal cost.
produce less than you sell.
Huh.
You produce less and you sell
Okay.
more. So which statement is correct? Read.
Reported profit is the same whether absorption or marginal costing is used.
When can this
No, that
happen?
only when the amount you've sold is the same as the amount you've produced.
Yeah. So this is not there.
Hmm.
Next.
Reported profit is the difference between absorption and marginal costing. No, marginal costing closing inventories. No, this will also not be correct.
Okay. So margin, you will have closing inventory. That means you produce more and you sell less.
Hmm.
Okay. Third.
Reported profit is lower using absorption costing.
When can you have
Uh,
lower profit because of absorption costing?
when because
When
you're
you have
using
opening
total cost, so your
inventory.
closing, yeah, when your opening
When
inventory
you
is
have
more than your
opening
closing.
inventory. No, no, no.
Yeah.
When do you have low profit as per absorption costing?
Hmm.
Because of opening inventory, your profits will reduce. And because
Hmm.
of closing inventory, your profits will increase as per absorption costing.
Hmm.
So your reported profit is lower using absorption costing. That means you had an opening inventory.
Hmm.
Okay. And your production was less than what you sold. That means opening inventory plus production is giving you your number of units sold.
Hmm.
You sure?
Yeah.
That means in this case, you had an opening inventory.
Huh.
And because of the opening inventory, your profit is lower using absorption costing.
Yeah.
And you produced less
Yes.
and you sold more.
So your opening के वजह से your price. हाँ, okay. Got it.
Opening की वजह से profit is lower in absorption costing. You have
Yeah.
sold more. And if you've sold
Yeah.
more than production, that means you must have an opening inventory. Only then you can sell
Hmm.
more, right?
Yeah. So
It's
it'll be
options.
this one only.
Come on. Which statement is true about break-even chart? Which statement?
Costs are easily classified into fixed and variable. Um, and wait. No,
This
no,
is
na.
not true, right? Break-even chart.
That's not true.
In the break-even chart, what is it? It tells you that point where you make no
No,
profit, no loss. You
no,
can
no.
see the break-even point clearly in the break-even chart.
This is the one that we did in business also, na?
Yeah. So break-even point chart shows you the break-even point clearly. So only this
Yeah.
statement is true. Fixed
Yeah,
cost will never change with output. So even this statement is false. Go to the next one.
A company provided the following information. What was the contribution to sales ratio? So you'll do production and sales units. So you'll
you
do
sales minus variable cost. You will always put this. Contribution minus fixed cost. Profit, right?
yeah,
Your fixed cost is how much?
60,000.
60,000. Your total cost is how much?
250,000. So variable cost will be 190,000.
Variable cost will be 250 minus 60. So it
So
will be how
190.
much? 190,000.
Hmm.
So you know contribution?
Yeah.
How much?
How will I know contribution?
You want
Acha,
this
sales. Yeah, we have sales.
variable cost.
400,000 is
No,
sales.
you want this figure, right? You
No,
have
we
your
want
variable cost, you
contribution.
have your fixed cost. So you can get this
Oh, yeah, I can. 190
190 minus X
minus 60.
is equal to 60. So X will be 190 minus 60.
Minus. Yeah, so it'll be 130,000.
130,000 is your contribution, right?
Yeah.
Okay, contribution to sales ratio. Now you have contribution as 130,000. You have sales as 400,000. So contribution divided by sales into 100. Contribution to sales ratio.
But miss, we could have found contribution by even doing 400,000 as sales, no? But still the same answer won't come.
Sorry?
See, if we put sales as 400,000, because it is that, now we won't get 130,000 then as the answer.
Sales minus variable cost. What is the variable cost?
190,000. So 400,000 minus 190,000. It's giving 210.
210,000. Okay.
Yeah. So it'll be 210,000 upon 400,000 into 100.
52.5%. Okay.
Yeah.
Go to the next one.
Last year, company sold 2,000 units and made a contribution of $50 per unit.
Net profit for the year. Okay. So sales minus variable cost is contribution, and contribution is 50. And number of units sold is 2,000. So your
The
total
contribution is
contribution is
50.
100,000
Yeah.
minus fixed cost.
Fixed cost is given, no. But profit is given. We can calculate fixed cost. So fixed cost will be 40,000.
40,000. Okay. Now what do they want?
Yeah.
Sales volume increased by 10%. So what is the new sales volume? 110% of 2,000. So 2,200 units. Contribution per unit decreased by 5%. So what is the contribution per unit? 50 to 95%.
How much was the sales we found?
2,200. Sales volume increased by 10%. Then they tell
Contribution per unit decreased by 5%. So 50 into 95% will be 47.5.
So your new contribution will be how much? 47.5 into 2,200.
Yeah, the total will be
104,500 minus the fixed cost. Fixed cost is also increased by 25%.
So
So
we
fixed
will
cost
do,
will be 50,000 into 125%.
oh yeah, we found fixed cost. So 50,000.
So what is the profit?
1,04,500 minus 50,000 will be 54,500.
Profit is 54,500.
Yeah.
Next one.
Which changes would result in a fall in profit? Marginal cost per unit increases,
Marginal cost means what? Variable cost.
variable cost. So if that happens, it will
Cost per unit. If the variable cost per unit increases, that means the cost
profit will fall.
will increase. That means the profit would decrease. So this statement is correct.
So it can only be from A and B.
One,
Total fixed.
yeah, it can only be from A and B. Total fixed cost decreases. If fixed
No,
cost decreases, that means the cost decreases. If cost decreases, profit
profit. So it has to be 1 and 4 then. B.
selling price per unit decreases.
Yeah, so profit will decrease because you're getting less than.
If selling price per unit decreases, that means the profit will decrease. So it's option 1 and 4.
Yeah.
Next one. Contribution to sales ratio. What is
Selling price is 25. Break even is given as 5,000.
so at
So
break even point,
with fixed
your contribution will be equal to your fixed cost. Right? Hello. Are you with me? At break-even point, your contribution will be equal to your fixed cost. What is your total fixed cost? It is 30,000. So your contribution will be 30,000 at 5,000 units. So your contribution will be 30,000 and 5,000 units. So contribution per unit will be 30,000 divided by 5,000 units.
Miss, I got lagged out, so I didn't see what you did over here. Are you using the formula for break even?
6 per unit. Wait.
Hmm.
Now you're finding the contribution to sales ratio. So 6
Yeah.
divided by 25 into 100. So contribution to sales ratio is 24%.
Yeah, 24%.
Okay.
Which cost will increase as production decreases?
As production decreases,
Hmm.
the total variable cost decreases. Hello.
Total? Yeah, miss.
As production decreases, your total variable cost decreases and your which cost increases? Fixed cost per unit will increase.
Hmm.
This is decrease. We want which costs increases.
So total fixed cost will also decrease, na?
Fixed cost per unit will, which cost will increase?
Yeah, so it
Fixed
won't
cost
be
per
fixed
unit
cost.
will increase. Fixed cost per unit will
Uh,
increase as production decreases.
okay.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So one is fixed cost. Total fixed cost, it remains the same. Total
Hmm.
variable cost decreases and variable cost per unit remains the same.
Okay.
Hmm. Okay.
Which represents total variable cost?
Which line
A.
represents total variable cost?
A.
Okay, can you read what is A?
Yeah, Miss A is total variable cost because it's a upward sloping thing. So
Hmm?
it increases as output increases.
Which line represents total variable cost? Okay, A. Correct.
Hmm.
Next one.
The following information relates to 1 unit of a product. What is the contribution to sales
Sales.
rate?
Marginal cost means what?
Variable cost.
So sales minus variable cost contribution is 12.
12 divided by 20 into 100. 60. So C.
Next. Okay, so this is done with this worksheet. Now we'll go to the next one.
Karo, start.
Read the question. Read.
A business has provided the following information about a product. It is unit contribution is 6, total fixed cost is 6,800. It is proposing to increase the unit selling price from $18 to $20.
Okay, wait.
What would be the effect?
Sales minus variable cost is contribution.
Yeah.
Contribution is 6 when the selling price was 18. So variable cost is 12. So it is proposing to increase the selling price to 20.
Yeah.
So contribution will become 8. Right?
Yeah.
What would be the effect of this on the break-even quantity? So break-even quantity means what? Break-even point in quantity is fixed cost upon contribution per unit.
Yeah.
Fixed cost is how much?
16,800.
And contribution per unit is 6. This was the old one. So your break-even quantity was how much?
Break-even quantity. Acha, 16,800 divided by 6.
So it is 2,800 units.
Yeah.
And for the other one, 16,800 divided by 8.
2,100.
So it is 2,100 units. So if you do your proposal, this is the new proposal where you're increasing. So what effect would it have on your break-even point, break-even quantity?
Your
Break-even
this thing is
quantity is decreasing, right?
it's decreasing, so
By how many units?
700.
By 700 units.
So
So option A,
decrease by 700 units. A.
right?
Yep.
Go to the next one.
A company has fixed costs of $8,000, which will only increase when production exceeds 40,000 units. It makes and sells 20,000 units of a single product. Each unit has a selling price of $10 and has a contribution to sales ratio of $40. By
40%.
how much? Yeah, 40%, sorry. By how much does the profit increase if it makes 30,000 units?
Okay. So I will write the formula first, that I do sales minus variable cost, contribution minus fixed cost, profit. What is the fixed cost?
Fixed
8,000.
cost is, yeah. 8,000, where is it given? 8,000, yeah.
Okay. I am making and selling how many units? 20,000 units. Okay. My contribution to sales ratio is 40%.
Huh.
The selling price is 10.
Yeah.
10 into 20,000.
20,000,
Sales is
yeah.
200,000
200,000.
and contribution will be 40% of it.
200,000.
80,000.
80,000. So
So
contribution
cost
will
is
be
120,000.
120,000 and fixed cost is given.
If I make and sell 30,000 units, If I make and sell 30,000 units, so contribution will be 4, right?
Yeah. So
Contribution
you'll do 30,000 into 40%, na?
per unit is 40%. See, if sales was 10, contribution per unit is 40%. That means contribution is 40% of sales.
Hmm.
The contribution per unit is 4. Yeah?
Yeah.
The total contribution would be 30,000 into 4. 120,000.
Hmm.
If it makes and sells 30,000 units, will the fixed cost change?
No, it will remain the same only.
It will remain the same because production is not exceeding 40,000. So the new profit will be 112,000 and the old profit is
72,000.
72,000. So the profit is increasing by how much?
40,000.
40,000. You with me?
Yep.
Next one. How many units of Y must be sold to break even? Okay. Now look over here. X and Y are two products. What is the contribution per unit for X?
Contribution per unit for X is, you have to calculate it, na?
Yeah, sales minus variable cost.
Hmm.
What is the contribution per unit for X?
6.
Contribution per unit for X is 6. And what is the contribution per unit for Y? 4.
Hmm.
Total fixed cost is how much?
44,700.
How many units of X are sold?
4,000.
4,000. How many units of Y must be sold to break even? That means at break even point, what happens?
When there is no profit or loss.
So at break even point, your total contribution is always equal to your total fixed cost, right?
Hmm.
Total.
Yeah.
Okay. You are already selling 4,000 units of X.
Hmm.
You are already selling how many units of X? You are
4,000 units of
already selling 4,000 units of X. So if you're selling 4,000 units of X, if you're selling 4,000 units of X, that means you're already recovering 6 from the sales of this 4,000 units.
Hmm.
So 4,000 into 6 is how much?
4,000. It's 24,000.
How much?
24,000.
24,000. That means by selling 4,000 units of X, you are already recovering how much? 24,000, correct?
24,000. Yeah.
And you want to recover how much? You want to break even, right?
Yeah.
So that
So
means you
total
want to
cost
recover a total of 44,700,
700.
out of which you are selling how many units of X? 4,000
4,000.
X, and you are already recovering 24,000.
Hmm.
So now you still have to recover how much?
44,700 minus 24,000.
You still
So you
have
have to
to
recover
recover.
20,700.
So 20,700 still has to be recovered, and this has to be recovered by selling which units?
Why?
By selling Y. So now they want to tell you how many units of Y you must sell so that you break even. So that you break even means so that you recover 44,700. But you should
Hmm.
remember that you are already selling 4,000 units of X.
Hmm.
So this is already recovered. So now I
Yeah.
have to recover only 2,700 by selling Y. So 20,700 fixed cost to be recovered
Yeah.
upon contribution per unit for Y. What is the contribution per unit for Y?
4.
4. So 20,700 divided by 4.
It's 5175.
5175.
So C.
So here, what people do is their obvious thing is they know the formula of break even point. So they will read this how many units of Y must be sold to break even. So they will say for break even point in units, the formula is fixed cost upon contribution per unit for Y. And they will directly do 44,700 divided by 4. And they will get an answer of 11,175. We do this
Because
normally.
yeah, I'm just going to write this down now.
Yeah, we normally do this, but it is
Yeah, even I would have done that only. But it's both the
but it's
products.
both the units, and they are telling that X is already 4,000 units. Now you tell me how much I have to sell of Y to recover the fixed cost.
Okay.
Is the catch. A shortage caused a business to pay more for its purchases of raw material. So you purchase raw material and you paid more. That means your cost increased. Your cost increase, raw material is variable cost. That means your marginal cost increased. Only one option has marginal cost increase.
Yeah, so it'll be D.
Marginal cost increased, so contribution, the amount that every unit would recover would decrease. And if cost is increasing, that means the break even point will also increase. So option D. Are you with me?
Yes, miss.
Go to the next one.
A business has provided the following information.
Month, 29,
Fixed.
last one. Last month,
Sorry. Last month, a business sold 10,000 units and made a total contribution of $60,000. Fixed costs were $10,000.
okay, one minute.
This month.
First, I will read and write. This is last month. Sales minus variable cost contribution. Contribution was 60,000 minus fixed cost 10,000. I make a profit of how much? 50,000. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. How many units I sold? 10,000 units. Sales volume fell by 20%. So 10,000 into
80%.
80%.
8,000.
8,000 units. And contribution fell by 10%. So I have to do contribution per unit. Find the contribution per unit is 6. Yeah?
Yeah.
So contribution per unit fell by 10%. So 6 into 90%.
Yes.
So it became 5.4.
Yeah, 5.4.
So total contribution will be 5.4 into 8,000. 43,200. Fixed costs remain unchanged. So fixed cost is same. Profit has fallen down.
Yeah.
So how much is the fall?
Yeah, 16,800.
So you just have to read, do that format and write. Okay?
Yep.
Go to the next one.
A
What
business has provided the following information. fixed costs and unit selling prices are expected to remain unchanged. Which percentage
What is
increase in
contribution?
variable costs? 6.
Contribution is 4.
Sorry, 4, yeah.
Fixed cost and unit selling price are expected to remain unchanged. Which percentage increase in variable cost would result in break-even quantity of 5,000 units? Okay. So I
Yeah.
will do sales minus variable cost is contribution. Minus fixed cost is profit.
Profit, yeah.
Total fixed cost is going to remain the same. It is going to remain the same for both. Unit selling price is also going to remain the same for both. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the first scenario, your variable cost is 6, so your contribution is 4. Your contribution is 4. Which
Yeah.
percentage increase in variable cost would result in break-even quantity? Break-even quantity is fixed cost upon contribution per unit, right?
Yeah, in units. No?
Yeah, in units. So you have break-even quantity as 5,000. Fixed cost is going to remain the same.
Yeah.
The fixed cost is going to remain 12,500. So I will get the new contribution per unit over here. So new contribution per unit would be 12,500 divided by 5,000. 12,500 divided by 5,000. So new contribution per unit is 2.5. 2.5. So what should be the new variable cost? 10 minus 2.5. So new variable cost will be 7.5. So they want to know the percentage increase in variable cost. How do you get the percentage increase in variable
2.5
upon
15
original into 100? So what is the change in the variable cost? 1.5. 1.5.
Achha.
Change in the variable cost.
Okay.
Change upon original variable cost. What is original variable cost? 6 into 100.
No. Yeah, 6.
1.5 divided by
1.5.
6 into 100.
So
25% increase in the variable cost should happen so that you get a